The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250.
Hi, Dr. Kachmann, and welcome to the Kachmann Mind, Body, Spirit Show. Today, we're going to go over what I call the 20 prescriptions that lead to a good life. I think it's kind of important. The reason I wrote these years ago, 15 years ago at least, I wrote them because the problems that we have in our lives, especially our school children, for example. If the schools were to teach these, and this is not representative of any one religion or anything, I wrote them so no matter what your religion is, that you could use this to teach your children or the schools. I managed to convince Judge Sims at that time to put them on a statue in front of the Juvenile Justice Center. I tried putting them in front of the courthouse, but they turned me down. Okay, I'm pushy, I push ahead. We could influence most people because we're having significant behavioral criminal problems, drug problems, shootings, and I think if children were taught these 20 prescriptions, and they would hang them, say, on the wall, or if you made your kids memorize them, for example, that behavior will change. It's not going to cure everybody, but it'll affect a number of people. So today we're going to review them. And at the beginning, I had a picture of me standing in front of the statue in front of the Juvenile Justice Center, and the 20 prescriptions are written on the side. If you're ever driving down Wall Street in Fort Wayne, Indiana, pull right in, sit there among the flowers, like I did today, and have a look at them. And if you were to teach these to your children, no matter what religion they're respectful of all religions. But I'm going to review them with you today. So the history involves that they're on a statue on Wall Street, okay? But there are also multiple other places. The Boys and Girls Club has them on the wall. The Reverend Jesse White has them on a plaque, one of the streets in Fort Wayne. But Judge Sims, who was the one who helped me get it there, he moved out of town, retired, moved out of town, moved to Texas, and died a number of months ago. But tomorrow they will have a dedication ceremony, and I plan to be there, and I hope they ask me to say a few words, and I'll talk about what may be pretty important. So let's go over the 20 prescriptions a little bit. And I don't know if we'll get through all 20, but I will try. So number one is treat others as you would like to be treated. Treat others as you would like to be treated in this thing. So I wrote a book about it called The Call of Life. I don't have that book with me today because I gave all the copies away, but I ordered some new ones. It's on Amazon, but it is part of this book that I have here that I wrote about children, and the last half of the book is the 20 prescriptions. So I took a few quotes out of there and I'll read them to you. I set out to find a friend, but couldn't find one. I set out to be a friend and found them everywhere. Well, I think that's a good one. I try to smile and hug and do things to act friendly no matter what their problem is. That's the critical thing, to treat and respect people as they are. I drove around the downtown library the other day, and coming out of the church next door were clearly people who looked impaired, but they had picked up a free lunch at the church. They were crossing the street when they maybe should have stopped, and I was driving slowly, so I stopped and talked to one of them, and I showed him respect for his situation. Show him respect, and once you show a person some respect, they behaved quite differently, almost like a normal human being instinct. And so my experience of 50 years, and my wife, who gets called and talks to many people every day. She's on the phone with people who have someone dying, or the husband leaving, or they just got a divorce. I see her doing this all the time. She really knows how to be a friend. Yes. Even now, one is dying in Indianapolis, and texting her all the time. Then she calls her back and yes. And so be a friend, and you'll get more friends. So people can be facing, this is interesting, devastating circumstances, but respond in kindness and courtesy rather than cold clinical professionalism. He's going to die. Well, approach it differently. I, as a neurosurgeon who faced life and death a lot on the patients I saw because of accidents, malignant tumors, and something like that, I will admit that I acted somewhat similar to my wife. I listened a lot, and people would be able to take their horrible circumstances better. So let's go through we've gone through number one, let's go through number two. Be honest, do not lie, cheat, or steal, and make your word your bond. If you promise them something, be honest about it, what you do. Honesty is the chapter in the book of wisdom. To be honest is critical, no matter what your circumstance, to be honest. Never esteem anything as of advantage to thee that shall make you break thy word or lose thy self-respect. So be honest, I can help you, I can do this for you. So here's another quote, which in these books, many more. A gentleman is one who keeps his promises to those that can't enforce them. You promise them something and you know they couldn't enforce them if you didn't do what you said you would do, but be honest about it. Honesty is central to my faith, was told to me by Judge Charles Pratt many years ago. He's no longer practicing. But he told that to me, and I've kept that in mind. Honesty is central to my faith. It's part of his religion, Judge Charles Pratt. The prescription was instilled by my parents. I was always told to be honest and truthful, and good things will happen to you. God smiles on those who live right. When you look at my life, for example, my parents, although they didn't go to church, sent me to a church which taught me proper behavior and honesty, and I think that instilled something in me which is still there today. Thank you, Oma and Opa. We were Germans. We were Germans. Okay, number 3, treat life with care. Avoid risky behavior. Now, there's a big one, because I treated a lot of the people who didn't pay much attention to risky behavior. And I saw a lot of patients where drugs and alcohol were abused. I saw them resulting then in accidents. Where the seat belts weren't fastened, and sometimes the children in the car didn't have their seat belt, and they were killed. Mm-hmm. So this one about risky behavior, 50% of the people killed in accidents have no seat belts. Wow, we could reduce the accident rate tremendously by wearing seat belts. I think it probably needs to be taught more and regularly. So recklessly driving motorcycles or bicycles can result in accidents, but just picking a motorcycle or just picking a bike to ride assumes a certain amount of risk, and it's not always the risk of the driver. They may be driving very safe, but people don't see them. So there are some things that inherently more risky: driving fast, car, motorcycle, bicycle, but also by nature, bicycles, motorcycles, fast boats are just more risky. To have guns in the home increases the risk. Many deaths occur in this country because we have so many guns in the homes. Yes, and we have the largest number of guns in the world. Yeah. If we have 300 and 400 million people, we probably got 5 or 6 million guns, and that every house has them. Maybe 25% of the people have them all, yes, and they don't lock them up, and the kids are wandering in the house, and the wife or husband, somebody gets mad and shoots the other. And that actually happens. Read the newspaper. So we are a gun nation, and you have to be aware of that. And and alcohol clearly is a problem. Is the alcohol in your house locked up? Are you drinking to begin with? And I used to think drinking 1 or 2 glasses of wine a week was okay, but anymore they say that's not okay. Okay, all right. And things that are risky are ladders in the house, staircases. Considering my age, how old do you think I am? 89 a month ago, no illness, no pills. What do you think? Am I just lucky, or maybe I followed what I'm talking about? Play pickleball every day. I did today. I play again in 2 days. Tap dance, sing songs. Maybe that can lead to good health. Prescription number 4, practice showing respect for authority, parents, teachers, police, and government. You may not always agree with what they're doing, but if they are the ones in power right now, you got to show them some respect. That doesn't mean you couldn't do something to not vote for them next time or something, but we need to show some respect for parents. You don't always agree with what the police is doing. The demonstrations we had in recently as yesterday, peaceful demonstration. Somebody told me 2,000 people, no police were there. Guess what happened? Nothing. They started expressing their democracy. So, be open-minded. So, without feeling some respect for what is there to distinguish man from beast, you got to show the people that are running the show some respect. Like I said, you may not always agree with them, and So he that respects not is not respected. If you don't show them any respect when you're talking to the mayor or somebody or a policeman, they're not going to show you respect. Interesting, isn't it? George Herbert said that. So if you have some respect for people as they are, remember I talked to you about the people leaving the church. The church was giving them free food, and they all ran in front of my car. But I showed them respect, so they talked to me. I accepted them as they are. I think that's important. You can be more effective in helping them to become better than they are. I see that a great deal here at this in heaven. I'm not in heaven where I'm at in the library. That's heaven. Oh yeah, this place is heaven. And I see a lot of people in here who try to get warm here or try to sleep here or different things. And I notice the library personnel, including myself, we show them some respect, although we always also ask the library people, ask them to follow the rules of the library, okay? I'm sure that's a difficult situation. And let's go to number 5. Do not let physical or mental abuse go unnoticed. If you see abuse going on in the family, and it could be to the animals or the pets, yes. You need to also protect our pets. I know people who smoke around their pets, and the pets are breathing the air, and the pets are dying much younger. That's abuse. There are people who are abusing the husband or the wife or the children or the neighbors. If it's abuse, it's the law. You must report it. If you don't report it, you could be found guilty. Mm-hmm. That's the law. And I saw a lot of that when I was practicing neurosurgeon, where the government has changed the laws that if there's child abuse, for example, which is talked a lot about in this book I have right here. For example, the government will take the child out of the home like that. I saw a lot of it. So don't abuse them in the first place, and you realize if you are abusing your spouse or your children, that will not be yours probably much longer. And so it's better to protest than to accept injustice. Rosa Parks said that. Okay? But do it peacefully. He injures the good who spares the bad. So you're injuring the good if you spin the bad. Most of my career has been spent in law enforcement, and I am a big advocate for reporting and ceasing violence. Otis Archie, a friend of mine that used to be in one of cities close to us, I became friends with him. And in Grand County, Indiana, he was a very respected law enforcement officer, a black officer in a huge white community, but they voted for him anyway. And I became really one of his best friends. And he concentrated a lot on abuse, but he worked also a lot on preventing it in the first place. Mm-hmm. People, they're alcohol or drugs, sometimes they don't have control of themselves. And so that's very interesting. So by number 6, here's one that's really huge, and I don't have enough time to go into too much detail, but read a book regularly. I'm a man of books, 20,000 books in my basement. Real books. PDFs are fine. My wife likes PDFs, but I like to put a mark around it, circle it, and people who do that more likely to read nonfiction. Fiction books are a lot more common. People use them to relax. So libraries are important. When we think of this library, Andrew Carnegie, been dead for many years, but there was a beautiful book about him in the library, and I read the whole darn thing. He put 50 libraries into New York City. Mm-hmm. Even established Carnegie Hall. There's some music centers. Yeah. And there were 2,000 books in my basement, but I moved recently to downtown because there's a beautiful library, and I wanted to teach people about health. That's my passion. I'm a doctor, after all. And so 80% of my books went to Western University. If you go to I-69 West, Lutheran Hospital on one side, and Western on the other side, a big building. It's there now. It's being remodeled. They teach good health across the world virtually. They also do some on site, but it's mainly, and on the third floor is Kachmann's library. Yes. A lot of my books are there, 2 chairs, TV set, and you can look at these TV shows, and David Unwin from England, who I think is now the world's expert on nutrition. And you can go YouTube, Kachmann, Dr. Unwin, and he will come up on all his YouTube shows. You will gain a lot of free information. And Thomas Edison said, "I didn't read books, I read the library." He said that. Well, maybe close to me, I don't know. I'm sure he read more books than I did. But the Allen County Library, the library we have here, is heaven. It's heaven. I do podcasts here, TV shows here, like I'm doing today, radio shows on the first Monday of every month, 6 to 8. I do shows on preventing and reversing diabetes. I only talk 20 minutes, and then people in the audience can stand up and tell me their story. So each individual must find the myth that is fundamental to his internal needs. We all have a myth within us. Only a myth can help one live a system that works for you. For life, have a life of meaning. We all need a life of meaning. No matter who you are, we want some meaning to our life. It makes it worthwhile. And but books are fuel for the soul. Obviously, in my case, I get up 5 in the morning, practice neurosurgery, but fed the birds and the animals and talked to the deer and took a walk on my 2-acre lake. But I was reading and writing books the whole time, and I still do. And I'm 89 years old, and I don't plan to stop reading them. But they can be a PDF, they can be fiction or nonfiction, whatever you like. But they can fuel a dream or imagination in your life. They turn your endorphins on, the feel-good hormones. When I have a book in my hand and I'm circling it, I feel good. That's my own serotonin, my feel-good hormone coming to work. So books are fuel for the soul. They're antidotes for anxiety and stress to clean up the mess. So here's number 7 of my 20 prescriptions. Be tolerant of other beliefs. I may have no belief. I may have a certain belief. Some people have unusual beliefs, but try to respect their belief. Unless their belief is that everyone else who doesn't believe what they believe, they got to kill them. Well, that's another story, okay? But if we cannot end our differences, at least we can help make the world a safer place. John F. Kennedy. Okay, But we all have history too. We may not always have agreed with John F. Kennedy what he did, things that he did. But if you know a person of another religion, you need to respect their religion. If you respect their religion, they may respect yours. You don't respect theirs, it's hopeless in terms of your own thoughts on this matter. So it's a good thing to demand liberty for ourselves, for those that agree with us, but it's a better thing and a rare thing to give liberty to what others are thinking who don't agree with us. Respect them for their thoughts and see what you think. You might agree or not agree, or do some more research. So in this book, The Call of Life, and this one about children, I've written many more pages on this. You can gather more information. And we'll review that book in a little bit. And let's go to the next one. Number 8, express honor, love, and respect for your family. Okay, and that can be sometimes difficult. Sometimes families are abusive. You know some famous people, you know them on TV, that literally grew up in a closet because the whole family was so abusive. So, the only people who are always sure about the proper way to raise children are those that never had any. So, how to raise kids, I don't think I really knew. I read about it, but I tell you what's a big one. Is to sit together for a meal. They say breakfast will be the best one. Well, as I grew older, I learned more about nutrition, that breakfast isn't always necessary. But then pick dinner or lunch, whatever you can get them to, the most likely way to get them together, and then go around the table, have each person talk a little bit, talk about their day, what comments they have about others' way of looking at things. If they agree with what the parents are doing, they might say, Dad smokes all the time and we got to breathe it in. Things like that. If you put everybody in a circle like this, you can improve what's going on in your family. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. If you can get this, that I know in my house, when I wasn't quite that busy, I always would meet for them. And we had breakfast, lunch, for example. And they were still young, so they were home early enough so they could go to school. That was good. When I had to stop doing that because they got too busy, that affected our family. So I found the best way to give advice to children to find... Harry Truman said this, I found the best way to give advice to children, find out what they want, and then I advise them how to do it. Well, in a way it's funny, but maybe what they want, they're more likely to do it if it's reasonable. So you got to pay some attention, Harry, as to what they're doing. Okay. So, but as a parent, to talk about some general rules that are valued. Be proactive. Begin with the end in mind. Keep in mind what you like the child to accomplish. What kind of family do we want to be? What makes you comfortable? What do we want to be remembered by? So it's a good idea to gather the family, maybe at a meal. I think it's the best way, and find out who's drinking, who's smoking, who's got that unusual relationship. So, as I mentioned earlier, I wrote here, eat meals together, let each person speak. I think that's really really good advice. And number 9, remember we're talking about the prescriptions, make a commitment to continue education throughout your life. To keep a lamp burning, we need to put oil on it. Well, I'm age 89, I will admit. I read books regularly, I get TV shows, I get radio shows, I take dancing lesson, I take a walk, I go out of town and give a lecture. So I'm stimulating my mind, I'm exercising the mind and the body, and I'm still writing books, reviewing books. So not to know is bad, but not to wish for something is even worse. I mean, am I wishing for something? Yes. This is a very unhealthy community I'm living in. Most 80% have diabetes. It's a musical town. Thank you, Chuck, Sarah. But it's a very unhealthy town. And believe me, I've been saying it on TV, radio, at lectures, and about our leaders are not stepping up to bat. At the recent Bean dinner, I noticed that people on stage, the lawyers, were diabetic. I know that because I wasn't their doctor, but I met with them to meet our governor, and yes, so and I told you also. So it's important to continue your education. Here's number 10, show respect for all life, human and animals. And I didn't add it at that time, but I'll add it too. And plants do. Yeah, plants even know how to defend themselves. They have poisons in them. So constant kindness can accomplish much. As the sun makes the ice melt, kindness causes misunderstanding, mistrust, and hostility to evaporate. Albert Einstein, wow, he said that, how important it is. So if we're going to have these wars and fight each other and bomb each other, but if one of us is promoting constant kindness and peace, let's talk some more, what do you think is going to happen? Odds of a peaceful solution really goes up. So especially animals, you know, years ago, I had quite a few cats and a dog, and you wouldn't believe my cats. They'd be running around all day. But then when I went to sleep at night, Fritz would come to here and stop, and he would let Braveheart, the other one, go above me. He'd fall asleep there, and then all three of us would sleep. Yeah. How I managed to sleep, I don't know, because they would move around too, and about 4 or 5 in the morning they would jump off. It's a true story. I wasn't going to have another cat, but now we got another cat because when I moved downtown, my wife all of a sudden said, you know, we need to have a cat, and we need to get a name. So Rhonda turns to my wife, turns to me, and says, what are you going to name this cat? Mine just a year and a half ago. And you know, my male cat's name is Elon. It wasn't so political then, but it's Elon. Elon's, I'm sure, sitting by the door right now waiting for me to get home. So the thing to remember too is when we're dealing with animals, we stimulate our endorphins, our feel-good hormones. Music will turn the endorphins on, and so will in animals, a hug. Animals have those endorphins too. You can hug your dog or your cat or whatever you have. You give them a hug, they feel it too. They have endorphins. So you can look at some of my other YouTube shows on the endorphin effect. I'm starting a podcast on them too, so you can pick it up there. So to learn what I'm giving a lecture on it in Warsaw, I think, next month. to learn what your endorphins can do, your feel-good hormones. Every cell, listen to this, every cell in your body is connected to the endorphin hormone. Every cell. So you can affect them tremendously. If you're pessimistic and you're going to play golf or tennis, pickleball, you're probably going to lose. If you're feeling good about yourself and have warmed up a little bit and exercised and singing a few songs on the way there, odds are you're going to win. So our endorphins connect us to nature too, and that's a big one. When I would live in my previous home where I moved from, I had a 2-acre pond around there, and I used to feed the animals. I had 5 or 6 different bird cages. They used to peck on my window. Where's my food? And then I would walk around the lake, and the birds would follow me, and they would whistle at me, and I'd whistle back. I learned to whistle because that bird, the red-winged blackbird, followed me. So we are connected to our animals. They secrete these hormones too. And a walk in nature can be so relaxing. Just a walk on the wood, in the woods, or walk barefoot, or just touch the grass has tremendous effects on endorphins. Thought you were interested in knowing that. Martin Luther King said years ago, I have a dream that one day on the hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. Martin Luther King. When he gave his great speech in Washington, D.C., I was taking my residency in neurosurgery, and I heard the speech. I couldn't get across town, so I stopped. And there were a lot of speeches, but his was one of them. I heard it, yeah. So I've been certainly fan what he says forever. Number 13. Number 13 here. So character is destiny. So wisdom. This is Buddha. This is Buddha here, and number 13. Seek knowledge, wisdom, good character, and pursue excellence. Okay, there's a there, and you need to decide whether whose religion are you going to respect. So character is destiny. Wisdom is knowing what to do. Skill is knowing how to do it. Virtue is doing it. Thomas Lacona, 10 virtues, 10 of his virtues: wisdom, justice, self-control, love, positive attitude, hard work, integrity, gratitude, humility. We're slowly developing things that would make you a good person. And so try to memorize some of these or read these books about them. The next one, prescription we're going to talk about, is practice health. Control, exercise your body and your mind. That's a big one. I mean, that's 80% of our area and the state, across the world pretty much, has diabetes. Many have not been properly tested, so they don't know it. So most of us are unhealthy. Unhealthy. All my blood tests are normal. Okay, you can see them. I show people on other shows I have. So no big surprise at 133 pounds. I weigh the same, by maybe a pound difference because of my water consumption. What what I saw at the German Fest recently, we have a German Fest and a Rib Fest, and I went to some of them, and I'm German, and I'm sure it's no different with the rest of the people. 70 to 80% were seriously overweight. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The people themselves, I'm sure, did not realize that's unhealthy, because our hospital system, our doctors, our medical school are not bringing it up. Mm-hmm. But I bring it up, and this is nothing personal or anything. The reason I bring it up, I don't want them to die 20, 30 years before their time, or be disabled, or have dementia, Alzheimer's disease, suddenly grab their chest and die of a heart attack, and to have amputation, dislocations. I've been to a certain group of kids that I know have a teacher, and I've supported them for many years. So I've been to a lot of funerals of people that died inside that family of their leader, okay? 3 of the times I went, the people that died had their legs amputated. They're diabetic. And the leader says to me, Dr. Rudy, I respect diabetes. I don't want you to respect it. Watch my shows and get rid of it. And you'll live to be 100 and play pickleball with me. Sorry for being so pushy, but lives are at stake. I'm not here for kissing people's hands. I'm here for getting people well. And incidentally, this is something people don't know. Remember, we're talking about health, number 14. 30% of the trophies, thin on the outside, they look a normal weight. 30% are diabetic. They did not have the right blood test. They didn't have the right blood test. Serum insulin. If you say, well, I'm of normal weight, I'm a trophy, can possibly have diabetes, wrong. Get a serum insulin. If you say to me, my HbA1c is normal, my serum insulin is normal, I might believe you. Look at my other videos and TV shows, talk to me in person now. I started here at the library. They have rooms there that you can use, and on the first Monday of every month, except if it's a holiday, then it's Tuesday, 6 to 8 at night, once a month, I give a talk on diabetes, about 20 minutes, but then you can stand up and say, I don't agree, I disagree. Would you meet with me in person? Yes, I do that. I meet with you in person. You know how much it costs you? Nothing. Nothing. Okay? Look at my YouTube shows, maybe 1,000. Okay. What does that cost you? Nothing. Look at Dr. Unwin's shows from England, who maybe is the world's expert on proper nutrition, who did change his mind. He himself was overweight, was diabetic, so his wife Jen. But then they wrote a book called Fork in the Road. You can buy it real cheap. Read that. Get rid of your disease. So look at the YouTube shows. Many other health videos, all free on television. So watch Dr. Unwin's and Jen Unwin's show, Susan Ryan, Simply Keto. Excellent book to look at. Then you can look at my books and 1,000 videos. Do you think that maybe we have a good heart? Well, it's possible. I walk down the street, every third person stops me and thanks me because they no longer have diabetes and other diseases. I lost 30 pounds. My diabetes went away. Thank you, Dr. Kachmann. I don't even know who they are. It happens to me in restaurants regularly. So, 15, do not abuse your body. Avoid tobacco, alcohol, drugs. Temperance is the modeling of one's desires, okay? By Cicero. Choose rather to punish your appetite rather than be persistent by it. It can't be done. Sobriety drinking is a real turn on. For me, you can see what you're doing. There's a point. I think I used to drink a little more alcohol than I drink now. Years ago, I didn't know much about it. I was a neurosurgeon. I had a very stressful life, worked many long hours. But then I realized after a while that's not healthy for you, so I quit. And I still have a glass of wine now and then, so don't take a picture of me while I'm having dinner and send it to YouTube. I really maybe drink a glass of wine or two because they've shown that any alcohol can be dangerous. But so if you're thin, you can't prove to me you're not diabetic and get those 30, 50 diseases that they get. They can be all avoided. Our health costs would go down, down, down if the medical profession, the hospitals, the medical school will step up to bat and teach the right thing. They're not. You're being scammed because they're interesting money. Mm-hmm. Look at the school menu. Look at the school menu. They even have milk on there. Read Whitewash by Joe Keon. You never would give milk to your child. It has too many hormones in it. And people can have an allergic or anaphylactic reaction and die from drinking milk. Yes, it's right in that book. And I have a TV show on that on YouTube. YouTube, Rudy Kachmann Milk, 2 one-hour shows. You can watch them. So I've never been on the thought that life should be easy. But I asked God to make me stronger. Well, I think He's done that. Intemperance is the physician's provider. Smoking, non-smoking, family members die. When you're smoking, other family members may die from secondary smoke. You may kill your children. You may kill your neighbor. Alcohol, sugar addiction can be common. Children's brain is not fully developed till around 25 or so. So many of them have these bad habits, and the brain does not properly develop because they're addicted to smoking, marijuana, cigarettes. Yes. So, number 16, help those who are suffering and in need. Throw out a lifeline. Now, some people are suffering. Maybe they're severely disabled. Throw out a hand, talk to them, show them some love, increase their endorphins. And if people who are severely disabled, if taught about the endorphin effect, they themselves can have a smile on their face all the time. The poorest people in Africa who have nothing, living on the ground, very happy. Many of them, because the endorphins are flowing. So you must learn about endorphins and walk in nature. So, my walk around the library here is a walk in heaven. So I see a lot of people here that are disabled, but the library is trying to help them. They allow them, you have unending books that you can read, and some of them read them, and some you sit down and it's warmer here. The Lincoln Center is inside the library. And I went there the other day while I was, incidentally, you can't get any newspapers all over town. I mean, you can get some, but not much. The library has them upstairs. Because I like to read the New York Times, Wall Street Journal. You can still get them somewhere, but very few places. So, number 17, avoid sex until you're ready to become a parent. I mean, that's a big one. And so having a baby is the surest way to poverty. Children need to be taught that, but the hormones are so strong. that incidentally they lessen as you get older, but not that much. And so, but I think it's good advice. So about a million teenagers get pregnant each year, and are not married, and life will be difficult for them. So help them, but teach your children about that. So number 18, we almost make it to the end here. Expect to make your own way in life. I think it's a big one. We cannot hope to scale moral heights by ignoring petty obligations. Some things you just got to do. Never stop learning, okay? And here I am, 89, and still learning all the time, reading books, giving lectures. I got things to learn. Stop me in the hallway, tell you something that I should know. Come to my diabetes prevention lecture first Monday, 6 to 8, and tell me something. Rudy, you need to know that. That's fine. I'm open-minded. But remember, there are 20,000 books available to me. And the library. Oh, my God. And but I'm not offended. So I think a good one is when I wake up in the morning, I take vitamin M, the only pill I take. What's that? Vitamin M. Music. I turn, Alexa, play Rudy's playlist. If you say that to your Alexa, it won't do it. I found that out. I thought any Alexa would listen. No. So Alexa, play Rudy's playlist. I play 10 songs that make me feel good in the morning. And that's a good one, because music goes throughout the body, throughout the brain, and you feel better quickly. So I think that's a good one. Love, music, exercise, stretching, all things that make you feel better. So, but you need to try. It doesn't really matter. You used to think you got to be a big-time job. No, you can have a plain job as long as you like it. I know a guy that job was to carry groceries out over at Walmart. For years he's doing this. I see him over there. And I talked to him one time, and what happened was he retired from another job, but walking out with the people and their groceries, he was getting exercise, and he would talk to the people, and they'd tell him about their problems, and he was used to hearing them, and maybe kind of acting like my wife, just communicating, making people feel better. And he just loved this job, communicating it to people. His endorphins were flowing, his exercise made his endorphins flow. So to love life through labor is to be intimate with life. It's life's secret. All work is empty space when there's love made visible. You combine a little exercise with a hug or a friendly word, or you sing a song, you're going to feel a lot better. And number 18, practice charity. Be willing to forgive yourself and others. And I think there's a big one. Bitterness is like drinking poison, hoping it will kill the other person. So it's a lot better to listen and see why they're saying those nasty things to you, and talk to them in a friendly manner. Don't start a war. If you haven't forgiven yourself, we all make mistakes. Believe me, I have too. And you got to forgive yourself. How can you forgive others if you don't forgive yourself? Isn't that interesting? So don't carry a grudge. We can carry a grudge to the other guys. While you're carrying a grudge, this is a good one, I always like this one. The other's out dancing. That's a big one. I always enjoy dancing because I feel the music in my body. and respect nature. And I think that's a big one. And I connected to that years ago. As I would feed the birds and walk around the pond, and they would follow me, and I would look at the trees and the leaves, and I realized the trees have families, and it was just a wonderful thing. Well, it looks like I really got through the 20 prescriptions here. We're just about the end, and you can read about it in my book, The Call of Life. I don't have that one here, but this book here, a little bit of a brutal name, but it's important: harming and killing our children. And I talked about the alcohol and the sugar addiction, and about fast food. And then the other half of the book, I took the 20 prescriptions and explained them in much more detail. So I think this is a good book too. But the Call of Life book, which I've got coming in the mail, I ran out. But the next shows, I'll have them out there. What I'm doing is teaching you health. And here we are in front of the criminal justice building. With a smile on my face. And at the bottom of the statue, incidentally, are real guns I got from the police department. Yeah. So it's conflict, a flame, a resolution to a dove and top. And tomorrow we're going to celebrate the life of Judge Sims, who allowed me to put it there. And thank you for watching this show. And we'll see you next time. Look at the YouTube shows, YouTube, Rudy Kachmann, and they're on there about 1,000 shows on health, and you name it, it's there. Thanks for listening to me. I do this because I love you. Bye-bye.